Hello everybody, welcome to Technique Tuesday. Today we're going to be making a pop-up book card. It looks like a regular card on the outside, and when you open it, it looks like a little book has opened up in the middle. This one I got the inspiration from a card I actually did on one of my previous videos, which was this one, and it opens like this, and I thought, oh, pretty colours, I really liked it, so I thought I would show you how I'd done it using the designer series paper. It does tend to be a little bit more narrow, the designer series paper, so it's less chunky. The one that we're going to be making today is this one, which is made with the what's it called, like an animal specialty designer series paper, and it's Leopard Print, which is one of my most favorite designs. Ta-da! So I thought I would dress appropriately. And this one is made using cardstock on the inside. So when it closes, it's just a tad fatter. It does fit into the envelope flat enough to mail. It's not too thick. It just meant for the front, I wasn't able to put dimensionals on because the thickness had already been accounted for. But anyway, this is the card. It uses the specialty designer series paper. I don't actually know if it shows up very well. This side is mirrored and foil and shiny, and the other side is just the matte print, but who cares? It's leopard print and I love it. So without further ado, let's get started. As always, the dimensions and the instructions will be in the bottom, and this is the card that we're going to get cracking with. So you need a piece of regular cardstock, and it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. We're really pretty comfortable with that being a standard card base. Give it a nice crease with the bone folder, and that's what creates the bases of the card. The next part is the inside, and there are some scorings and some cuttings, but like I say, the directions will be in the description box below. So I'll bring in the paper cutter, and this is 8 by 5. And what we're going to do is we're going to line it up at the 1 inch mark on the paper cutter, and we're going to cut down from 1 inch to 7 inches. So as always, I'm going to stand up, which will mean I'm a little bit close to my overhead camera, so apologies if I've suddenly got loud. So we're lining up at 1 inch on the paper cutter. We'll then find the 1 inch mark on the side rule, and with the Stampin' Up paper cutter, it pushes in where you want it to go, and we're going to cut it down to the 7 inch mark. So we're making a slit from 1 to 7, and then we'll turn it around and we'll do exactly the same thing. So we'll line it up at the 1 inch mark, bring the cutter back, and we'll push it in at 1 inch, and we'll slide it down to 7. So that's the cutting. So we'll move the cutting blade out of the way. Then what we need to do is line the edge of the paper up at 1, going landscape, and we're going to score between the 2 cut marks. So we're going to go from 1 to 4 at 1 inch. Then we're going to move it over to 1.5 inches and do the same thing. Cut between the 2 cut mark, so from 1 inch to 4 inches. Then we're going to move it over to 2.5 inches, but instead of cutting between the cut marks, we're going to cut either side of them. So we're going to go in and score down, and then we'll find the cut mark at the top and go in and score up, so only from the cut line to the edge. And then we'll put it at the 4 inch mark, remembering this piece is 8 by 5, and we're going to score through the whole thing so it will fold in half. Then we'll just quickly turn it over and do the other side. So we'll line it up at 1 and score between the 2 cut marks from 1 to 4. Do it at 1.5 between the 2 cut lines, from the 1 inch mark to the 4 inch mark, and then we'll put the paper at 2.5, and we'll go outwards. So we'll go from the cut line out to the edge and from the cut line out to the edge. So that's all the scoring. So I can sit back down and hopefully not be so loud. Now we just need to do a little bit of folding. So the 4-inch mark was half, so we can fold that already. Then we'll fold the 2 other lines. They're going to be valley and mountain folds. We've just got to get them folded safely first. So we'll fold this little one inside and then back on itself, remembering where the edges of these ones is. There's no line here, so we don't want to bend that accidentally. So we'll push it out to here and back. That's what forms the little book part of it. So if that's the book, this needs to be up and these need to be the other way. So now this looks like the inside of the original card. And then what we're going to do is add some decoration and do a little bit of stamping. So there are 2 pieces of designer series paper. You can do it on the shiny side. I just wanted to use the other side, and this is 2 3/8 by 2 7/8, and there are 2 of those because they're going to go on each of the book sides, and it's a lot easier to do this when it's a flat piece of paper. So we'll go ahead and put sticky tape on the back. And we'll put those in. So they're only 1/8 of an inch smaller than the piece they're going on. So you just need to give them a really small little border. Just like that. And then we're going to do a little bit of stamping. And the front has 2 circles. One's a plain circle, one's a scallop circle, which I cut with the circle dies. There is the little greeting which goes on the left hand side. And then there's the taller greeting. Well, actually, it's not a greeting. It's a taller piece where you write your greeting to the lucky recipient who's going to get your card. So this is the colour we're using, Soft Suede. It coordinates with the outer side of the card and it coordinates with the layers and the big scalloped circle. However, I'm doing a series at the moment for people who would really like to begin stamping, and I had encouraged them to buy a set of spots. So I'm just going to, this is actually not one of the colors, but I just wanted to highlight how quick and easy it is, or equally as easy it is to stamp with a spot as it is to stamp with the big pads. I'm a demonstrator, I stamp a lot, it's what I do, so I always invest in the big pads, but if your budget's tight, you can always get sets of the small spots. So I'm going to be using Ringed with Nature for the greetings, and this is a polymer set, so I'm just going to get out the love and warmth, ink that up and stamp it onto the piece of basic white and give it a clean. And it can go back onto the acetate it came off. And then the other one is going to be on the front, which says thinking, oops, upside down, thinking of you. So I'm going to put that at the top of the circle. And then I thought this specialty paper is absolutely gorgeous, but there isn't really a set that goes with it. And because I wanted to use the leopard print, and leopard print is special to me, I thought I would go delving into my old stamp sets. And I managed to find this wooden one. It's actually got a copyright on it from 2003, and it's called In the Wild. But ta-da, ever so conveniently, there is a leopard. So let's ink him up. and pop him under the thinking of you greeting, and there it is. And then I thought, looks quite nice. He's got like a speckled, he's been sort of mottled to fill him in somewhat. But then I thought I would take my alcohol markers and I would take the lightest Crumb Cake being the inside colour and one of the colours in the Leopard Print, and I would just give him a little bit of colour. It's actually, normally with the alcohol markers you do edging or you put shadowing. I'm literally just using this to colour him in because I wanted him to have just a little bit extra. So that was quick and easy. So now we're going to attach all the pieces to all of their relevant soft suede layers, if it will let go of me. I don't know why I turned that one over. It hasn't got anything on it, but it's one of those habits. Every piece of cardstock's got two sides, so we'll pop that on there and we'll pop Mr. Leopard on his circle, and then we will get to assembling it. Like I said, it's a lot easier to actually put these layers on the inside. You can do it once it's built, but it's just easier if you do it before it is. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that. And the reason I made this a little bit smaller was so I could showcase more of the paper. And then we will put the shiny side out on the front of the card. And this piece is just cut the 1/4 inch smaller because it ends up being 5.5 by 4 1/4. This is 5 by 4. And then we'll pop the leopard on, and like I say, I'm not using dimensionals because the inside is quite fat and we don't want to exceed the thickness of the overall card and then have to pay extra postage. So that's the outside of the card, this is the inside of the card, and all we have to do now is put it all together. So oops, come on, don't do that, baby. So we just have to, oh my gosh, it's not cooperating. We'll just do it one side by one side. So it goes like this. Tuck those in. And then we're going to put glue on the C shape. And I'm using the liquid glue because it's just a little bit forgiving to get it into place. But then it's also very sturdy to hold it once it is down, because we want it to be able to stay put. So making sure we've got the right side of the card going to the right piece. We're just going to pop this over here. A 1/4 inch apart. And then, like I say, because the glue is a little bit forgiving, we've got just a quick little chance to slip it into place, and then we'll close the card like it will be inside. And again, this little C part is where we're going to put the glue. And then this one, we just need to hold it down and then close the card onto it and give it a chance to dry. Just a quick second while I close my glue. Multitasking. And then when we open it, ta-da, it looks like a little book. It closes, not too fat, fits into a standard envelope. And then when you open it, it's got a little pop-up of the book. Again, this is the one that I did using the designer series paper. I got to use my beloved Leopard Print. Here's the original. So that's it. If you like what you've seen, please consider subscribing. If you really like what you've seen, ring the bell and it will let you know when I've posted other videos. Likes are great, comments are great. I will always try to reply to any comments that you make or any questions that you have. And last but not least, thanks so much for watching.